I think my biggest product regret, and this is when I was like early in fully thinking through what a growth team and being a growth oriented PM meant. I had worked on the self service product at Groupon where, like I talked about, I didn't realize that we were a growth team until afterwards. And I was just like in it, and we were, like trying to figure out like how do we add this channel to our business, because like having a salesperson close every deal is not going to work. And I had been very successful in that role, and because we started with like 0% of Groupon's deals ever being a self-service deal to now like 70% of all their deals go through that self-service channel. That's huge, especially for a company where like a salesperson handheld everybody through the process. Also in that segment, also know that like small mom and pop shops are really hard to get them to really self-service anything because they're trying to run a business. Like they don't have time to figure out online marketing. So I had gone from that, and I was like, and then I realized like, oh, this is a growth team. And I thought, oh, that's what I want. Like I want to be on a growth team. And somehow I talked my way into this like head of growth role for help outs. Like God knows how I did it. And I was like, yes, I'm going to, I've like done growth work. I'm going to like form this team. And I formed this growth team, and we did really good work, and I was very excited. And I realized, oh, you need a growth team only after you get to product market fit. And problem, we haven't gotten to product market fit. And I don't think that I realized that for the organization. Like there were people way senior to me. Like we had CEOs, we had VPs. I think like I had the realization too late that you should only have a growth team after you have product market fit. And I also think once I had that realization, I wasn't able, and I kind of actually like pivoted my growth team to focus on what does it take to get to product market fit. We did that successfully, but I couldn't convince the rest of the organization. This sounds crazy that like one, we hadn't gotten to product market fit. And two, I couldn't convince them. Actually, they knew that we probably hadn't gotten to product market fit, but it's actually a truly scary thing to like have that realization. And this is why I talk so much about like the importance of being able as a PM to like tell the truth, but also convince everybody else that the truth is the truth. Because you would think, oh, it's a business. They don't have any customers, probably haven't gotten, and there's like no indication that we would get customers. Probably a good sign that you haven't gotten to product market fit. But like the many ways in which organizations can delude themselves and people, not ill-intentioned, but I wasn't able to actually like convince everybody of the right ways in which we should get to product market fit. And that I consider that a failure. And the product was ultimately not successful. And I think the great irony of looking back at that organization, an organization and a product that never got to product market fit. One, I think we could not all collectively look at it and say why we didn't. We couldn't say, but this is the truth. Like if we had known why we didn't, we probably could have fixed it. If we had known what we should do collectively, we probably could have fixed it. The really sad part is that nobody took responsibility. Like the most junior people said it's the senior people's problem. And the most senior leader said, no, like it was the function of having a terrible team. This is also why I'm probably super sensitive about if you're a leader looking at your team and being like, this is a terrible team. I want an all new team. No, like you probably created a dysfunctional team. And like my inability to like change anything about that org or to help them get to success was a failure. And like every day I think about like holding myself accountable for every failure, like both on a product that I work on and own, but also for the organization that I'm in. And it's hard. It's because I don't fully know why it failed. All I know is that, well, So lots of little things. That's what you said, right? It's always death by a thousand cuts. There's no one reason, but you had the first step is starting with like holding yourself accountable and being like, how did I contribute to the failure of this? And I think I contributed to the failure by not being able to like convince the organization of what the right way would have been to like find what was working. Ironically, for somebody who cares, like I was convinced that like we just needed to understand our customers a lot better. I couldn't convince them of that, and I couldn't convince them to do that quickly enough to like make the product successful.